Good morning, everybody. Jim Feist in Las Vegas and the red hot Hank Goldberg. Hank, you had a great weekend, and I think we need to talk about it because it was incredible.
Well, I was perfect on my ESPN show, and they made me pick more games on the CBS show. My only loser on that show was the Giants, and I went 6-1.
Well, that's the remarkable start to the season and continued success. That was amazing.
I thought there were some games, but some people liked Carolina. But, the Rams came in there, it's too early in the morning, and Rams won't be ready. The regulars played. But, it was a close game. But I think Carolina's very good. They're good, but they're not that good. And, Tampa Bay is Tampa Bay. That quarterback is no good. He threw 2 bad picks in that game, giving the game to San Francisco. They got to do something there. Winston doesn't have it. When are they going to wake up to that fact?
Well, the problem is they pay these guys so much money.
What's the difference?
They get stuck.
They want to win.
They get stuck with them, and that's the problem. Okay, well, let's talk about Nick Foles.
He's still playing out his rookie contract.
No, really? I didn't know that. Wow. Hank, Nick Foles went down with a broken, I don't know.
Arm.
Yeah. And
he's having surgery today.
Right.
He's out for at least half the season. Kansas City was going to win that game anyway.
Well, going forward, what did you think of the kid that backs him up, Minshew?
Played all right. I don't think he played bad. But remember, Kansas City's defense was not prepared for him. They were prepared for Foles, a total drop-back quarterback. Minshew was mobile. Throws a whole different rap on the defense. And as the game went on, Minshew got worse. Kansas City got onto him. I think Kansas City's. I think they're toast. Now there are rumors around that they may reach out to see if they can get a deal for Eli.
Interesting. Well,
and they don't have a backup either. They're in bad shape. And I'll tell you something. Carolina Pittsburgh got 2 bad injuries last night. Pouncey, the center, went out, and they had one other. I think on a defensive line, they lost a guy. That was a team that didn't come in ready to play, and they got guys hurt. That was a disgraceful performance by Pittsburgh. I went over a half on my prop bet, and towards the end of the game, Fat Face finally turned one over in the end zone, so I won that. But I'll tell you something. Brady, you notice that there's nothing missing in his arm strength. He completed like a 58-yard touchdown pass, something like that. The Pittsburgh secondary was lost. And they couldn't move the ball at all against the New England defense. But I think, there's so many things that came out of this game. Kansas City, in winning, they lost to the top receiver. He's having surgery today.
Yeah, Hill. Yeah. That's
Tyreek, yeah.
Yeah. These injuries are eventually devastating.
Well, you know something? Their quarterback got a little bit of a nick in his ankle.
He did. It was a hell of a Sunday, that's for sure.
I'll tell you another game that was interesting was Indianapolis. One of the guys on the show, on the CBS show, It was awful yesterday. He used to work for Jacksonville, and he picked the Dolphins. I mean, how bad can you be? He also said that Indianapolis would not do well against the Chargers because Brissett hasn't played in so long. He's going to be like a rookie in the game. He was a cool customer in that game, and he played extremely well and almost brought his team back. And they covered by half a point, but they still covered. And almost won that game.
Well,
the Chargers.
The game went into overtime, Hank. I mean, in regulation they tied.
I know.
Yeah.
I said he brought the team back.
He did a great job.
And by the way, he brought the team back with time running out on the clock. That was some drive that they initiated.
Yeah.
That he initiated and carried them through on with the clock going out. It was a great drive to bring him back to score and tie the game. He was good, but Phillip Rivers had a decent game, and Eckler or whatever his name is did okay at running back. But I'll tell you something: the Chargers really missed their running back, and they had enough injuries that helped Indianapolis in the game, particularly the losses in that secondary. And, the left tackle was out. But I'll tell you something. Gase is the same old Gase. The Jets had a 16-point lead, blew it. Bills came back and won. Quarterback could do nothing in the second half. Bills defense owned them. Adam Gase, you can have him. I've been saying that all along.
Yeah, you didn't like him when he was in Miami. That's right.
No, he was terrible in Miami. And I know Schrager loves him. Well, Schrager can have him. He's a guy on the NFL Network. But so far, he's 0-1 with the Jets, and Jets fans walked out of there very unhappy. The biggest surprise to me was the Redskins giving the Eagles a game.
Yeah, they started off hot. The Eagles came firing back at the end. I was. We should talk about it. Cincinnati and Seattle. I never saw.
They played well.
Dalton threw for 418 yards. For my God's sake, it was the best game he's ever had.
Yep. Yeah, Seattle might not be so hot. Clowney was good, but I think Seattle was life and death in that game. And then the Browns, 15 years now since they won an opening game, they extended their streak. And you and I were talking before we went on the air. Kitchen looked like a deer in headlights. His eyes were wide open every time they showed him. He looked like he didn't know what to do.
Hank, I got to ask you open question here online on this podcast. Why did the Browns not give the head coaching job to the guy that was 5-1 last year at the end of the season, Greg Williams? Why did they do that?
I don't know.
I know.
At the time.
Does anybody out there know what the hell the reason was? I mean, it makes no sense.
Nope. This was a guy who never had any experience as a coordinator. He was a quarterback coach.
It's pretty incredible, and you could see that. Well, I don't know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen inside a locker room, but there's a lot of egos on that team. Everybody's going to be pointing fingers at everybody else, and
right now everybody's pointing fingers at Baker Mayfield, and Mayfield after the game said, "We just got to put this behind us and move ahead to next week." And next week, they got to go play the Jets.
Where there's a guy named, the defensive coordinator there was their head coach last year.
Yeah.
Greg Williams will be...
Well, he didn't do such a hot job yesterday either, as he had no answers for Josh Allen when he got rolling for Buffalo in the second half. They had some big plays, and the Jets couldn't stop Buffalo.
Yeah, we learned a lot from the first week, but we have to be careful not to totally overreact to it, as they say.
No, but I got to tell you something. Mayfield did not look. He looked terrible yesterday. He threw 3 picks in the game, all of which hurt his team. He was forcing his passes, and the game was on him, and he couldn't deliver against a Tennessee defense that was very well coached. And by the way, Vrabel has done a great job with that team. And Mariota outplayed him. Mariota had a heck of a game.
He did.
Didn't make a bad throw.
He did.
And the other team that the Vikings were good enough offensively against Atlanta. Matt had his usual bad game on the road. And the Vikings were good enough. That was my last man standing pick yesterday. So I'm still alive in that contest. It's a good day. And, looking around, the Bucks were, the Bucks were outplayed badly by the 49ers, and Winston threw 3 interceptions in that game. The Giants were, they didn't play all that well. The Cowboys played well, despite the fact that, Prescott had a heck of a game. He threw for over 400 yards.
Prescott looked great. He really did. He really looked really, really good. I think, it's probably time that they stop criticizing Prescott. Not you, but the world stopped criticizing Prescott. He looked really good. Philadelphia made a big comeback against Washington. Wentz started to hit some plays. They came roaring back. I mean, they were totally out of it, and Washington was gassed. The first half, Case Keenum looked like he was back in college. Where he
It was interesting that Washington didn't have Adrian Peterson there for that game.
What was the reason for that?
No reason. Coach's decision.
Oh, well, that coach was the favorite to lose his job first. Who knows? Maybe that's part of the reason. Well, I don't know. Probably a disciplinary thing or something that we don't know about. But we got 2 games tonight, which is the first Monday night of the year. They have two games. We got the Oakland hosting the Broncos, and we have the Saints hosting the Texans. And the Texans, like you said last week, went all in when they picked up Stills and wide receiver, and then the offensive lineman from Miami, which is going to help Watson, protect Watson. Should be a hell of a game. I don't know what
Well, I'll tell you something about yesterday. Yesterday helped both teams in that game. All 3 teams in New Orleans division lost, and all the teams in Houston's division lost. So, except for Tennessee. Tennessee was the only. Tennessee could be a threat in that division.
Well,
I said yesterday on the CBS show that Tennessee will make the playoffs.
Well, I would say they're now, right now, at this moment, they got to be favored to make the playoffs because Andrew Luck is gone, and Foles is gone. Now I'm not knocking.
Well, you still got
Brissett.
I don't think they're favored. I think that Houston's going to be favored in that division.
Well, the division, but the wild card, I think Tennessee have to be the favorite to make a wild card. Houston, will be. This kid Watson for Houston is really an exceptional quarterback.
I don't know that Tennessee is going to be favored to make the wild card. You got the 2 teams out west. You got, the Chargers won, and they looked pretty decent doing so. And they'll get some of those players back as the season goes on if they can hang in. Kansas City is out there. They're going to, it's between those two. You got Pittsburgh is not as bad as they looked last night, and so there'll be some other team. You got Pittsburgh and Baltimore. A lot of people are going to jump on Baltimore now. So but I think Tennessee is not favored. They certainly have a good chance.
Yeah, and Baltimore is going to probably get a little too much credit for that victory, but we know that they won.
No, they won't. No, I don't know what the number is going to be this week for Baltimore, but Jackson had a huge game. But on the it's funny, Mariucci yesterday on the show, he said on his wild prediction, he said Jackson would throw 6 touchdown passes against Miami's pathetic secondary. Well, he only threw 5 because they took him out. He also predicted that Brady would throw for 400 yards. Mariucci's good on that show. Brady threw for over 400.
By the way, the Baltimore opening line was 14 over Arizona. It's now 13. So double digits. What did you think of Murray?
He didn't play bad, by the way. Murray looked good.
He can throw the ball. That kid can really throw the ball. He's got
and he's cool, too. They almost won that game. And they should have won, actually. They dropped an interception. Detroit threw an easy pick that was dropped, and that would have given Arizona the game.
Does Matt Patricia, is he actually as clueless as he looks on the sidelines? I mean, this guy just doesn't look like he knows what he's doing.
I don't know if he doesn't know what he's doing, but he's not a very good coach. He drives him too hard in practices, and they don't like him.
It sure showed. He sure did not know what he was doing yesterday. You got 2 games tonight. You got the Saints are 6.5 over the Texans, and Denver, who was the dog in the game, is now a 2.5-point favorite at Oakland.
Well, Saints historically don't start off quickly, and they haven't played a lot, the regulars a lot in preseason, and I hate the expression rhythm. I don't know what that means. They're getting into their rhythm now. It's continuity, and it's getting into timing. It has nothing to do with rhythm. Rhythm is a musical term. But all these announcers use the term rhythm all the time. They should throw that out of the repertoire of words. But anyway, the Saints always start off slow, even at home. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. The other game, Flacco is hard to invest in. But, the Raiders are just totally dysfunctional.
Yeah, they are. And to talk about hard to invest in, I'd say John Gruden is hard to invest in right now, too. Not sure what he's doing. But, Okay, last thing. The controversy with AB. Did he do this? Did he intentionally orchestrate this to get released so he could go sign with the Patriots?
They're saying that he had a consultant telling him what to do so he could get this done.
Wow. Well, let's say the shit hasn't hit the fan yet, but I guess it will. Very interesting. Hank, congratulations on a fantastic week. Continued success through the rest of the year. Everybody out there, JimFeist.com for Hank's plays. And Hank, we'll talk to you again on Wednesday.
Okay. Have a good day.
You too.
Good luck tonight.
You too. Thank you, buddy. And don't forget, when you go to the website, sign up for a free play each and every day. And thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you again probably tomorrow.
Hi, I'm